Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to take a look at my dashboard here for the movie The Matrix. I chose The Matrix because it is one of my favorite movies, and this gave me an excuse to go back and watch it again with my family, this time with a little bit more analytical eye, which was a lot of fun. Um, in building this dashboard, I took it from the approach of, what kind of drove the behind the scenes of the characters. And really what that came down to was this fight for survival, the ways that they enter and exit the Matrix, and then of course, how intense those situations were. And last but not least, the central theme being, this big question of, is Neo the one? With that being said, let's jump in. So the first thing that I did is I took a look and realized that the Wachowskis actually took and modeled Mega City after the city of Chicago. Now it's not an exact one-to-one, obviously for many reasons, but they did use it as a basis. So there is some similarities there. So I used that to kind of give me some latitude and longitude of just different various areas that seemed to kind of fit along with the aesthetic of the scenes that were filmed in the movie itself, to try to add some tie-in with the real world. Obviously, none of these places are listed as far as actual names given, so I just had to use things like building 1, building 2, so on and so forth. And so what I did is start off with the location of the different fights. And so, for instance, you have a fight in a hallway, and the fight in the hallway, there was an extraction point, was a phone, which was pretty much in the same location, not too far away from it. The intensity of that particular fight was a level 9 intensity, and at the beginning of that fight, Neo only had a confidence level of about 4, so he wasn't really too sure of the idea of him, being the one, so to speak. Overall intensity based on his victory, though, was shot up to a 9. So obviously there's a lot of knowledge that was gained by Neo being victorious in that particular fight. Let's take a look at another one. The dojo fight, for instance, with when he fights against Morpheus. So the extraction point for that's the Nebuchadnezzar, because that is the ship that they are on. Confidence that Neo's the one. He had about a level 1 going into it. Overall intensity of about a 4, and coming out of it, a confidence level of his, being the one, bumped up a little bit, of course. Let's see here. Let's go on and looking at like headquarters. So this is right after he was captured. He woke up in his apartment, so that was the extraction point. His intensity was pretty high because he was scared, but wasn't really sure what was going on. And then if we take a look at some of the different opponents, like for instance, Agent Smith, the 10th interaction that was had in the movie was one with Agent Smith. Intensity of 7, Neo's confidence level not too high there. Second intensity of about the same. And so just overall, just a few different things to kind of give you an idea of how intense each interaction was, the amount of confidence that was had as Neo progressed through the different stages of the movie. Like this here, it overall confidence level when it came with after interacting with agents, only about a 5. With Agent Smith, it was quite a bit lower. With the guards, it was not very high, and that was of course the most intense. So just some interesting information to be found there. This here showing the intensity by extraction point. So with that being said, the elevator was right after the lobby scene, so it was one of the most intense scenes in the movie, and so obviously very clearly an intensity level of 10. The reason I chose this overall theme of intensity and confidence level is that it seemed to me that as Neo went about his day in the Matrix, two things that would really help him remember would be, how intense the different situations he was in were, and then also how confident he was in his abilities. And so being able to plan his future interactions based off of those two main data points I felt would be very helpful. I struggled with the The timeline one, it didn't quite work the way I expected it to. This should show every single interaction based on an imaginary timeline right down here, roughly about the time that I assumed when the movie was taking place in the year 2199. Try as I may, it did not work out. Gonna have to keep researching that one even further than I already have, and be able to implement it in future endeavors. But that's pretty much it. Any other questions, let me know, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks.